Good evening, everybody. Let me check my microphone, make sure. Can you guys hear me and see me? For anyone who's in the chat right now, for those of you new, this is a roaming prepper channel, and normally I am not on at this time of night or on this night doing a live stream. So, hey, Hunter, how you doing? Welcome, welcome. And can you guys hear me? I'm good to go. All right, thank you, thank you. Hey, TD. So, real quick, there were a lot of things happening all at once, pretty much across the country, and I thought it would behoove us to kind of look at some of these really quick. Hey, thank you, Hunter. Hey, Carbon, what's going on? Um, and to basically not. This isn't a fear-mongery thing. It's more like, okay, this is what's happening. How would we have prepared, or should have they prepared for it? So I have a family member in San Francisco, which is not near the fires, and they're telling me that they're getting a lot of people from LA going up to San Francisco to get away, and it was a disaster. Like people were on the highways, the fire got close and they panicked and exited the vehicles and then ran down the street. And so the fire trucks are trying to go the opposite direction and could not. They could not pass because people were in the way. So ultimately, what wound up happening is they brought a bulldozer to bulldoze the cars off the road, which to me makes zero sense. But let's really quick, let's look at some of the images and that I'm picking up. So we're going to go to my X account here, and let's look at this. So this one's funny. They got, they're making fun of freaking Newsom, but I'm not interested in stupid Newsom. This is, you guys should be able to, can you guys see that? Hey, Rob. Yeah, definitely. So that is by the coast, if I recall correctly. So they're getting what they call Santa Ana winds. That yeah, it does look familiar, doesn't it? I'm assuming they're losing power, and so the water stations, the pumping stations are failing, and the backups may not be able to keep up, and hence the hydrants are running out. So let me play that back for you guys here real quick. Oh, doggone it. So not everything caught fire. Now, if you look here, it looks like these trees are not on fire, but in reality, a lot of them got burnt. But it's going to go to the house is much more flammable, unfortunately. Possibly, but a lot of it is also if they lose power, the pump stations go down, and if they don't plan for this in that city, they don't have redundancy on those water plants like Houston did because of the hurricanes. What they didn't count on was 54 inches of rain from Harvey, flooding everything that was low lying, including the pump stations, which really screwed us. Hey, Skydive, dump chemicals like in well, possibly. Yeah, I'm not sure. Lots of things. No, no worries, Watchman. Thank you for hopping in real quick. So let's look again. There's another image I wanted to share with you, and that's not the guy? Okay. Oh, this knucklehead is back.
West Sunset Boulevard and Pacific Palisades. This feels like a scene.
I got overlapping images here. Let me this guy's the one I wanted to share with you.
West Sunset Boulevard and Pacific Palisades. This feels like a scene that you would see in a movie. All these cars were left here abandoned yesterday, and emergency trucks had to go through with a bulldozer to clear way so that they could get up to where the fires were. So all these cars were just left here during the evacuation. Massive gridlock. See, the fire went through here and even burned some of these cars that were left behind. Look at this. All these cars are wrecked.
Yeah, so looking at this, so what I'm hearing, at least from, and it's my daughter who lives in well, she doesn't live in San Francisco. She lives out in the country. Um, what they're telling me is from what they're hearing from friends and coworkers in the area, um, their people were not ready to evacuate the way they were. Even though they've seen the fire now for what, 2 days? The fire is not, it didn't magically appear. Actually, Jeff Schneider, I think this is him. I may be wrong. No,
West
at
Sunset
Cedar Rapids.
Boulevard and Pacific
Um, and there's the same guy again.
Drive. Firefighters are trying to put out this home. Absolutely going up in massive flames right now.
So what's really telling to me,
PCA.
what's really telling to me is a lot of these folks were not ready to evacuate. And if you live in that part of the world, especially California, you know, Houston, you get hurricanes, right? It's very wet. It's a bayou area. You're not likely to see this kind of fire. There are fires, don't get me wrong, but not like this. Out in West Texas is very flat and dry grasslands, but the grass is very low. There are not a lot of trees and mountains like California has. So you don't get these weird winds. The wind is flat, but because it's such a flat area, it can spread, but it's also easy to spot. And you can bulldoze a whole a whole track, and kind of create a fire break. So this is a unique set of circumstances. It does look like Hawaii, honestly. Um, yeah, the Oriental entranceway was really nice. And hey, Grit and Grace, what's going on? Is he on X, Daryl? Because I can try and find him if he's out there. Um, hold on, I lost track. Kind of, yeah, it does look. So one of the recurring themes, and we saw it in Maui as well, and I won't pull these up, but you had groups of people trying to evacuate, and there was no suitable evacuation plan. And what wound up happening, exactly what you saw there, the cars got caught. So the people just abandoned the vehicles, which is all fine and dandy, but now you're on foot. Um, the fire was not spontaneous. In other words, it wasn't like someone popped a and now everything's on fire. This took about 48 hours, 72 hours. My, my family, my daughter and her husband said that they were watching it, even though they're nowhere near that part of the state. They were watching it a day and a half ago, 2 days ago, and they were watching, and they're like, okay, we're not. They were getting rain. They're like, we're inundated with rain because it's like a frontal boundary. He said, we're getting clobbered with rain here. I'm not worried about fire. I'm worried about smoke and visibility and whatnot, which is fair. But they were watching, and when they called friends in other parts of the state who were close, those friends had no idea. They're like, "Oh, yeah, there's a fire out there. It happens every year." And they didn't actually start taking plans. And I think a lot, unlike Maui, which kind of really was out of nowhere, this one percolated for about 24 to 48 hours. And hey, Food Forest. Hey, Billy. No, and people can't. Yeah, the water's turned off. So I'm hearing. I'll see if I can find them, though, Daryl. Um, I'm. Hey, Food Forest. Cali's expensive. Who can afford to move? The No, they would not have gone there. It was for work. It wasn't, and it was just one of those circumstances. A young professional couple had a good opportunity for a career. They don't live in the cities though. They live out in the country, which was a smart move. Um, but fire. There are 5 fires, and I'm gonna go to that. Let me see if I can get the fire tracker. Cali fire. So a new fire has just been declared. And this is what I find interesting is now people, even in California posters, oh shoot, hold on a second here, bear with me, are wondering, well, what the hell just happened? Hollywood Hills is now on fire. So let me I'm going to bring that up for you. And again, this speaks to the importance of having an evacuation plan. Let me share this real quick. Is that right? I saw something streak across the sky at one point, but I don't know if it was one of the firefighting planes. I couldn't get a good look at it on the screen at the time, and now I can't find the video. Sister Betty R. is her. Joey, keep us posted. Cali Fire UFO. I left California. Hey, John. I saw what was coming like a freight train on fire in the night from a mile away. Um, so yeah, Joy, keep us posted, please. So I'm gonna play this for you. And again, this really speaks to regardless of where you are. I said it in my video earlier today. Um, try to assess the most realistic threats in your area. I mean, yeah, preparing for an EMP and nuclear fallout, that's all good. Um, but you need to start with the real things. For this part of the country, fires is a real thing, right? Storms coming in from the coast is a real thing. Earthquakes are a real thing. And with the earthquake comes a tsunami. Forest fires in Louisiana, where it's raining all the time, not as much. There, you could have industrial accidents from oil and gas rigs, like the Macondo, the offshore rig. You have the hurricanes, you have flooding. Those are the more realistic natural or man-made issues. You have refineries, that would be a human catastrophe. Uh, these are the things you want to assess. And again, this is why I said when I started this video, I don't want this to be fear mongering. I want us to look at what's happening and think, if I was there, what would I have already done? Because more than likely, if you're following me, you would. Hey, Prepper Book Club. I can't even talk today. Amigo, I'm sorry. Um, you probably already would have had a plan, right? We talk about it all the time, which is one of the reasons I have the MIRA safety masks, is why I bought them, is because not so much fires, but there's industry around me and refineries and oil and gas and solar, and every now and then there's an accident. Um, and it's not terrorism, it's lightning hits a tank battery or a drilling rig miscalculates and they have a blowout. And it can be 20, 30 miles away, but it'll spew nasty stuff all the way across. Company name Occidental, which look we oh, that's interesting. John, you're referring to Oxy, what is in the industry known as Oxy, because I work in the energy sector. So that's um that's interesting. Hey, prepping artists. They're closing tomorrow and Friday as well because we're expecting sleet. We're already getting freezing rain in West Texas. So yeah, so that's another area we yeah, and again, moving across Texas, I have like totally different issues now. It does look like more Maui. Okay. Then we're talking about the same company, John. John, I appreciate the tip. What I'm going to do, I may not have time tonight. I'm going to dig in a little bit and see what, because the oil and gas companies took a beating in California. So I find it interesting. What would they put there? There's no oil and gas in that particular area, not that close to LA. At least maybe there is. Maybe I'm wrong. Um, I need to look at the geological maps, which I can get my hands on eventually. Um, but I'm going to play this for you guys, and I want you to think, right? I mean, this is tragic, but I want you guys to think, listen to what these people are saying. Hey, Ark Wild Man, good to see you, man. And ask yourself, okay, what would I have already had in place, right? And then ask yourself, what else could I have in place now that I'm watching this video? And this is really what I want you guys to walk away with. So,
this is the location that we were given, 2350 North Solar Drive. That's between Nichols Canyon and Runyon Canyon in the Hollywood Hills. There are a number of homes surrounding that. Chris Christie, are you available to give us some about this? Mark, very concerning sight here in the Hollywood Hills. We're just west of Nichols Canyon, just north of Hollywood Boulevard, where a major fire has just sparked in the last 5 minutes. We were over the Pacific Palisades. We saw the glow coming from over the hill, and just in the last couple of minutes that it took us to get over here to Hollywood, this thing has exploded in size. You can see northerly winds coming through the canyon here, just west of Nichols, just east of Runyon Canyon, and you can see this is all very thick fuel that is fueling this brush fire. LA City Fire is aware of this fire. They have immediately called for the 20 closest trucks to respond out here. However, accessing this fire is going to require more than trucks. They're going to have to get a quick reaction force over here as soon as possible, or more likely LA City Fire choppers over here as soon as possible, depending on what resources are available. But this thing is blowing up before our eyes. It is a very sizable fire that is spreading rapidly. I'm going to try and get some more exact streets here. If you bear with me 1 second, Lucas, pan over to the right. So that's Runyon Canyon Road to the right there. And if we pull out all the way, so we can just put this into a frame of reference. It's just south of Mulholland Drive. And if we come all the way out, you can see due north of Bonita Avenue and Vista Street off of Hollywood Boulevard. So we're talking about a 1.5 miles north of Hollywood Boulevard that is now on fire. It appears to be all brush at this point. Do not see the closest structure just yet. However, I think there's a house or a group of homes on the north side, on the other side of this fire, towards Mulholland. We can't see it through the smoke right now, but this appears to be majority brush that is fueling this right now.
Chris, I've hiked Runyon Canyon so many times. I know Mark surely has as well. And you mentioned the streets.
So that one's on Hollywood Hills, which I'm enjoying a quick break. Yeah, I can imagine, man. You've been busy. It's good to see you, brother. So keep in mind, if you're following me, you probably already have some semblance of a plan in the back of your mind. You're saying to yourself, okay, wow, if I live like I do, right, we would have freezing rain, we would have possible fires, we have energy of various types, solar, oil and gas, wind. So, and we get the wind, natural wind creates issues with the grid. So I have certain threats, certain risks here that are very different from what I would have experienced in Houston. The folks you saw stuck on the road that abandoned their cars, what I'm hearing, and this is this is through the grapevine, so to say, is that yeah, I'm hearing Hollywood is burning. That's funny, actually. So yeah, yeah, I'm hearing that there was fires out. Hey, good kid Karma, welcome. So this is one of the reasons you want to have not only digital copies of your insurance papers, personal ID, stuff like that uploaded. You may also want to create, like I said, the bug out book or the get out book with hard copies of these. You may also want to have them on like a hard drive, like a the backup terabyte drives, and have digital as well as physical copies. Something that if you need to evacuate, you can go to your safe, go to your closet, wherever you keep it, and you can get stuff out quickly and then hit the road. If you have pets, you also got to accommodate for them, right? It's a good idea if you live, for instance, I'm going to pick a city in Texas, right? Say you live in Dallas, right? Or Houston. Houston's a great one. So you have flooding, hurricane. You need to know, okay, the hurricanes usually you get about 4 days lead. Tornadoes, you get like 4 to 5 minutes, 10 minutes tops. Flooding depends on the nature of the storm. Yeah, fire sucks. You can't fight it. You can't chase it away. Fire just does fire things. So what routes would you take to escape from there? Now, in a hilly area like that, it's going to be like Maui, remember? The roads went around the island. The mountain was in the middle. So you had limited options to escape that area of Maui, because basically you had to go left or you went right or you were in the water, There were no other options. Here they have a few more, but again, you really have to kind of ask yourself, where should I oops, sorry. Where should I be going? What are my directions? So let me see if I can get Count Fire up, and I want to. Oh, now it's teeny weeny. Here we go. Okay, so oops. Bear with me just a second, folks. I'm going to bring this up for y'all. And so this is Cal Fire, and I know a few people have put this one up. Let me switch screens. And there we go. Okay, so you can see here Cal Fire. So I'm assuming Hollywood Hills is where the Hollywood sign is, which would be an amazing irony if after all the evil that Hollywood has done from time to time, that the actual sign burns in a fire. Hey, Wisconsin farm boy, what's going on? And good kid again. Hello, hello. If I missed anyone, hey, Gene. Yeah, we played that video. Bring it back here in a minute. But as you can see, so this is another, and I'm putting these web pages up so you guys can actually, and let me see if I can copy this nicely and put it in the chat. Okay, so there you go. Now, those of you who are on your computer, on your phone, you can click that and save a bookmark because it shows you the whole country, actually. This is now, it's gotten to the point where it compiles data from different departments. So let me see. They had a fire in Texas somewhere. Maybe it's not on this page. Shoot. Nope, I'm thinking of something else. But anyway, let's get the map going here. Topographic. There. Oh, nope, that was creepy. Streets. There we go. So as you can see, that's a lot of fires surrounding the area. And if you look, they're happening in a lot of valleys, right? But look where the fires are. I'm going to try and blow that up a little more because I'm not sure you guys can see that. Let me make sure I can see that. Okay. So, hey, Watchman, welcome back. She came calling wildfire. Yeah, possibly. That's actually a good quote, Watchman. So, if you're here, let's say you're in this red zone here and you're trying to evacuate, well, let's think about that. Where are your options here? So, oh, I zoomed in too far. Hold on a second, folks. So, this is inside the county. So, the Palisades is right here at the outskirts of the city, and it's headed towards Santa Monica, right? You have the Eaton fire out here, but as you zoom out a little bit, you're also seeing there's fires on these main roads in these valleyways. So if you try to go north and maybe head to San Francisco, you're going to get impeded. I think that's a minor fire here. So you notice like there's you start losing options to leave the area. So if you're in Los Angeles, which is right here, going north actually might be a problem. You might have to resort to going south or southeast, which would bring you back toward Joshua Tree. So one of the reasons I did this live stream tonight is so start thinking 90210. That's funny, actually. Don't put your mouth on it. That's like drinking the flaming shot when you're having too many drinks. Hey, Fallen Skies, what's going on? Good to see you. So, folks, these are the kind of things you want to prep for first if you live like in a place like that. If you live in Houston, you know, hurricanes. If you live in New York or Buffalo, lake effect snow, blizzards, whiteouts, power outages, freezing temperatures. Plan for the things that are most likely, which are either going to be natural or human error, and versus say a human deliberate act like a terrorism. So human error, like, you know, derailment of a train because an idiot truck cut off, which we've had a couple here in Texas, where train hit a truck that got stuck on the rails. Human error. Refinery blows up because someone screwed something up. Human error. Chemical leak. Human error. Now, obviously, you could argue some terrorism looks like a human error and it's not, but That's to me a separate category. These are incidental things. You're more than likely to have a natural incident or a human error incident than a terror incident, statistically speaking. But in being ready for that forest fire, being ready for the flooding, you indirectly get ready for other things as well. I don't know if that made sense the way I put it, but hopefully it did. Hey, Hudson Valley, what's going on? I got my fuzzy fleece. I don't have my name tapes on here anymore, but I have my fuzzy fleece, and this is warm as shit. Actually, I'm starting to get hot in this thing. But again, you look at that and you start seeing, and let me see if I can get you. Oh no, that's Washington D.C. That's like totally the opposite side of the country. Here we go. Okay, so flight hazard. Let's see. Hold on a second here. Okay, yeah, I got the right spot. So this website is called SkyVector. Now, if you are a pilot, you will know exactly what SkyVector is. SkyVector is actually the aviation maps. So what you're seeing here is you're seeing and drawdams. Let's show all drawdams. Oh, damn. Okay. So what you're seeing here is actually the aviation maps for everything. So if you start going in, you notice there's temporary flight restrictions all over the area. Segment, let me see, from 40 Southeast to see 20 Southwest to 30 West Los Angeles Airport, EF. Severe turbulence, 10,000 feet up due to low-level winds reported by aircraft. So there's here drone operations are prohibited. That's by Camp Pendleton, where obviously a military base, but they've got a lot of restrictions in the area because flying a drone while they're trying to fly low-flying helicopters is going to cause an accident. So again, something you need to know if you're a commercial or civilian pilot, or if you're a drone pilot and you want to send your drone up to maybe see around you, which in a case like this would be a great use of a drone, right? You have a fire in vicinity, you're not sure where it is. If you can get a clear airspace, you can throw a drone up, but you can see they've got restrictions here. Not only can you get in trouble, they're more than likely just smack into your drone and knock it down. Hey, what's up, Tennessee? Good to see you, buddy. But again, these are the kind of things. Hold on, I'm losing. I lost track of the chat here. Sorry, Teresa. I see you're in there, but if I didn't say hi, I can't find you now. But in any case, you can see there's a lot of activity, and these are the things you really want to plan for. You really want to ask yourself, wow, where is it? Which direction do I need to go depending on the threat, right? You have a hurricane in Houston, you don't go to Corpus Christi. That's closer to the coast. You don't go to Galveston. You go the other way. You go to Dallas, you go to San Antonio. But keep in mind, there are 5 million people in that area. Everyone's going to go that way. Do you know alternate routes? Are there other ways you can go? Or do you make the decision to go out early? And this is where planning really comes in handy. Hudson talked about this, not this week, I think last week or week before. I can't remember. It was in the last couple of weeks, where you want to kind of make a game plan in advance. Okay, this is where you personally set a threshold. Don't wait for the government to say, okay, now you need to evacuate or you need to hunker down. Because once they say it, everyone's going to do the same thing. You got to make the call ahead of the public. So for Hurricane Rita, we tried to evacuate and we decided to go south to go around the storm. And we wound up going to Corpus because the storm was already north of Corpus. There's no scientific way it was going to make a U-turn the way it was going. But that should have been a 6-hour drive from Houston. It took us 9. And we had to refuel on the way because everyone was out there, because we waited a little too long. I wound up hunkering down for every hurricane before that one. And after that experience, I stayed home for everyone after, because all my resources are there. But if a fire, you really can't make that decision. You're going to have to leave, right? Because you can't fight the fire. You can kind of deal with the rain and flooding to an extent. So you need to add your own threshold. Okay, if the fire gets this bad, if the snow, the power outage, whatever, one, what is your threshold to take action? And then question two is, what is the first action I take? Do I hunker down in or do I bail? And once I do that, where do I go if I decide to bail? Do I have a destination? Being able to come, like if you came to our county from an evacuation zone and you did not have a destination, chances are the sheriff and, whatever deputized individuals they put together will not let you in the county. You'll be turned away. But if you have a destination, I have a reservation at this hotel, they have a room for me, here's my reservation, or I have a family member at this specific address, then you're now an evacuee, not a refugee, if you guys are tracking me. And there's a big distinction there between an evacuee with a destination and a refugee who is fleeing and we don't know where you're going because you don't know where you're going. So you want to, yes, and it will vary. Gene's absolutely right. It's going to vary if you have sick people, if you have kids, if you have animals. Forward pass the by foolishness. Yeah. If they're hoping that, I'm assuming you meant, Watchman, that they're hoping it's going to pass by. Yeah, it's going to. Oh, thinking. There we go. The fire would pass them by. Yeah, no, you're playing Russian roulette when you're doing that kind of thing. So on that side, so on one side of the country, we have. So let me get the winter storm videos out. So on one side of the country, LA is on fire, and then oh, this is let's see if we can trying to find. Okay, and this is the Memphis weather. Well, it's not opening. Sorry, guys. Bear with me just a second here while I try and figure out. Do. I'm trying to find. Oh, here we go. That's what I was looking for. Hold on a second. So then on the Central and East Coast, we have a different situation. And again, this is why it's important to, when you move, like as much as we have, understand your location. So here's some footage. And again, this is for learning purposes. They all tried to hit the road at the same time. Mike just kind of drove through that, but
I know.
okay, that semi made a really good stop. That little car did not.
Oh my gosh.
So here you have the opposite situation. They're freezing rain. They've got, you could see the black ice at an angle. Like if you're driving, you won't see it as well. But because of the way the lights are shining from the oncoming traffic, you can see the ice on the road. They can't stop. That semi actually did a really good stop, which means he probably was slowing down miles, miles before, and was able to come to a relatively gentle stop. I mean, I think he's got a Humvee on his damn flatbed, and then here comes this dingbat pickup truck doing 80 and just whack. Oh, see, and that's another. That would be. See, that would be another situation where you have a plan, but now your mode of transport is damaged. Here in this video, what you just saw, their mode of transport is getting damaged because they're driving inappropriately for the weather conditions. Those last two vehicles that just hit the other cars that were already in a wreck, there's no reason they should have been going that fast, knowing full well you're in the middle of an ice and rainstorm. And honestly, one of the biggest threats is the stupidity of other people. Dealing with the snow, dealing with the rain, dealing with the ice, the fire, whatever it is, that is enough of a risk, but that's a known quantity, right? Fire will burn, it will travel a certain way with the wind. Water will run downhill, right? Ice will make things slippery. And you can kind of wrap your head around that. But when you have stupid people and they do ignorant stuff, that that is where you run into trouble. This is where you made it another 600 miles through Virginia in 2.5 hours. Oof. I'm glad you made it home, man. That was not a short drive. What was that, 9 hours for you guys? If I remember correctly. I did that drive once a long, long time ago, but I remember it was about a 9-hour run. So, but again, so wait, there was another video I wanted to show you about the winter here. Bear with me just a second while I pull that one up. Okay, and here's another case. Now here, nobody's having an accident because nobody's going anywhere. So as you can see, right, they're not going anywhere. If anything, now the police, you look at the background here, is the cops. Well, and you know what? This looks a bit AI-ish, doesn't it? Nope, it's an AI. I picked up on that. There was way too many cops responding to trucks in the snow. So, oh, here we go. That's a little more realistic. Columbia, Tuscaloosa, 3 days after winter storm. Let's see. And this is not a road you should be driving down. But again, you have two completely different situations, right? On the West Coast, you have a fire. You can hunker down for a blizzard. You can drive slowly and use side roads during a snowstorm, keep off the main highway and the risk of semis. Hey, Rabid Coyote. Hey, Lady Smith. So, hold on, Gen X. Hey. Yeah, and I looked at it and I was like, that's a really good photo. And then I'm like, that's a few too many police cars for that kind of response. And that's when I saw a symbol in the corner that tipped me off. But even so, right, it's not unrealistic to see cars stuck in the snow. So assess your own situation and what your risks are. And remember, the risks may change during the course of the year. So again, I'm going to use Houston as an example because I live there. So during the winter, we would have icy rain every blue moon, and that would cause a bunch of wrecks. Flooding in the spring, hurricanes in the fall. So you want to pack a little differently. Now you live up north, you might have fires at certain times a year and flooding, and then you may have snowstorms and freezing at other times of year. This is why it's so important. Jamaican bobsled team, that's pretty funny. This is why it's so important for you to understand what is in your area, right? And again, I'm going to reiterate for anyone who's new here, it's cool to and it's sexy to say, oh, I'm going to prepare for alien invasion from Mars or an EMP from China or Russian paratroopers like Red Dawn. You're much more likely to have to deal with a power outage and sub-freezing temperatures or a wildfire or some other natural or accidental calamity than you will one of those rare instances. But preparing for those basic things will also kind of make you ready for a lot of other stuff as well. You may need some specialty items for, some more elaborate scenarios. So understand your area, understand, and if you're new to your area, ask your neighbors who've been there for a year, right? A lot of us have relocated since COVID. A lot of people got new jobs, moved to new parts of the country. Ask your neighbors, hey, what's hurricane season like? What are the months? What do you do to prep? Do you prep? If they don't have answers for you, find someone. Facebook is full of little groups. I'm still a member of a mag in Houston. So I touch base with them every so often, and I'm like, hey, we just got hit with freezing rain, so that means you're going to get it 4 hours from now or 6 hours from now. Understand the threats in your area and prepare accordingly. But a case like the wildfires, you're gonna have to get out. So have a plan for that. And remember, I showed you showed you the image of where the fires are, and it's blocking several northbound highways. So you need to have a contingency. If you can't go north, say to San Francisco or to Sacramento, California, do you have a plan to go toward Joshua Tree and maybe head toward Phoenix? Can you circle the mountains and head toward Vegas, right? I mean, yeah, I'll go spend the apocalypse in Vegas. Why not, right? But point being, you need to factor things in. Now, Mike, Hudson Valley Prepping and Survival shared coming back, there was engine trouble, and he's trying to beat the storm home as he's driving up the East Coast, right? There you have another factor. What if your vehicle has an issue? Checking on the maintenance and also knowing, are there places I can stop to get repairs reasonably quickly? Do you carry the extra cash? So if you need a repair and the credit cards aren't working because, I don't know, the power went out, you can pay cash for that spare tire. Try to plan like that. It's really tough to plan for everything. So plan for the most likely situations, and that should put you in a really good spot for more advanced and more concerning situations. Let me see. I had another. Oh, that's interesting. Hold on. Okay, I'm going to share this one as well. Again, um, I just want you folks to ask yourself, what would I have already had in place before I got stuck in traffic? So let me share this with you real quick.
Oh, LA is literally on fire. I'm driving home because somebody said the Hollywood Hills were on fire, and you can literally see the freaking fire in the Hollywood Hills. Like this.
You notice how
Right
full that
now
gas station's getting,
in
right?
LA.
But it's not
Yo,
completely
LA
full.
is literally on fire. I'm driving home because somebody said the Hollywood Hills were on fire, and you.
So again, you wanna plan. Hey, Kill It and Grill It. Good to see you. Hey, Bob. Rabid Coyote. Hold on, I lost track of what I was doing. Hey, Gen X. Keep showing me the. Oh, well, cool. Well, welcome. I hope you get something valuable out of it. I would be so freaking out of there. Well, exactly. Now, here's the other thing. The gas station's not full. Now, I don't know if he's driving a Tesla, if he's driving a gas vehicle. I would be planning before everyone else thinks of it to go top off that tank, at least have one vehicle full of gas. We're getting to the point now that we never let our vehicle go below, a third tank from full. In other words, 2/3. Half a tank maximum is the most we'll let it go down, but we try to get it at 2/3 so we always know. I know with 2/3 of a tank, I can make it to an entirely different city where I have friends or family or people or places I can stay if I need to. And I've got since I'm landlocked, I've got multiple directions I can go. Until I hit the mountains, there's a certain stop there. But yeah, I want you guys to think about this instead of going into the fear mongering thing. Ask yourself, okay, if I had this happen to me, what would I have done? So let me I had another image for you. Bear with me just a second here. And oh shoot, I just closed the wrong thing here. Let me do. Hold on. Oh, that's bad. See, and this is something like you can't hunker down for something like this. Like there's really not. But if you live in this area, you should already have been planning for this kind of situation. You should be asking yourself, I know this area is prone to catching fires. This is not something new. Right? Yeah, and you should. And that's a smart way to think about it. Hey, I'm glad you joined us, Gemini. It is Fire NATO. So understand, I lost I could be stoned. Yeah, you could be stoned. Well, like I said, I could go to Vegas and, if the apocalypse shows up, be like, screw it, I'm taking the dogs. We're going to the Vegas and I'll make my stand in the desert over there. Although this part of Texas, other than Vegas and New Orleans, we sold more alcohol in West Texas during COVID than anywhere else in the country. I don't know if that's a flex or if that's an awful thing to know, but yeah, so like you had Vegas and you had New Orleans, and then we were like number 3 or 4 in the country for alcohol sales. So, but we felt good. Even if you got sick, we still felt good. But point being, if you live in an area that's prone to these kind of fires, that prone to these kind of disasters, plan accordingly. Ask yourself, okay, do I have a hard copy of my important papers, my insurance papers, IDs, etc.? Even a will. Do I have copies of my dog shot record if you got to evacuate with your dog? We have 4 Corgis. We have seatbelt adapters. I've done videos on this where I can put 2 adapters and have all 4 of them strapped together in the back seat of the pickup. And I have a pad and I can put all my belongings there. Do you have a plan for that? Are your pets socialized so your dog's not picking fights in a shelter or picking fights in a store or a gas station? Granted, dogs bark, that's their job, but you don't want one that's absolutely being belligerent because it's going to make you traveling a lot harder. Do you have agreements or friends in different directions? So like I showed that map earlier, that those northern fires, not the Palisades, the one in between the Palisades and the Hollywood Hill fire, is actually blocking the highway to Sacramento. So do you want to risk that, or do you want to go south and go around and go to Joshua Tree and then head to Phoenix and catch a hotel there? Now, there's not much between Joshua Tree and Phoenix. It's kind of the Mojave Desert, right? There's not a hell of a lot there. But again, if you have your car full, you get your belongings, you get it in the truck, you're gone. Go the opposite way. Don't get hung up on those main drags. Right, or they just become belligerent and cause you problems. Damn this, you can't go over it. Yeah. Wait, they shut down the Hoover Dam? Because you should be able to go over the big bridge, the new one. I can't remember the highway. It's not 20. If any of you live near Vegas and remember what highway goes over the new bridge, not the Hoover Dam, throw it in the chat because I just blanked out completely. But anyway, you want to be able to plan around these things that are most likely to happen to you. And that way you're not struggling. And again, like I showed earlier, let me bring up that another one of those blizzards. Oops, hold on a second here. I got like screens going everywhere. Oh, there we go. Let me get winter storm again. So I'm going to bring back, no, that's not what I wanted. Sorry, folks. Okay, so here's another good piece of footage. And let me bring this back over. Bear with me just a second here, folks. I'm kind of flipping screens on you a lot, so I apologize if I'm giving anyone head spins. Hey, Rage, what's going on? Rage Against the Machine. Hey, Yardbirds. So here we go. So here's another example. So that's the opposite situation. These folks are caught in a blizzard. And that looks like a damn avalanche. Yep, that's an avalanche. That's pretty neat. Yeah, that would suck if you were, and this is clearly being taken from the highway. Oh, there you go. Close the window. That makes sense, buddy. Good job. Here's the, it does Rodeo Drive. That's not going to be good. No, it's not going to be good at all. But here's the opposite situation. So you have the West Coast fire and everyone else is buried in snow and ice. What happened there? Or is he's just, I guess he's just blocking the road. But folks, understand your area. I cover that in the book, my little book. Understand your geography and your geographic location. What are the weather patterns? What are the rocks like literal earth? Does it absorb water? Does it hold water? Does it crumble? Will it create landslides? Is there a lot of fuel for fire, or is there water, or is there a lack of water? Understanding these kind of things kind of give you a baseline to inform you of how one should be ready for an emergency like this without freaking out, without the fear mongering. Yeah, they did bulldoze. All joking aside, for those of you who showed up late, they did bulldoze a bunch of cars because people ran out of gas on the road because they didn't keep their tanks full, or at least three-quarter full, so they couldn't even clear their general area. And then they freaked out and they abandoned cars in the middle of the road. So they had to get a construction bulldozer to push the cars off the road so the fire trucks could go up and down, which is absolutely floors me. Where are the food trees? That I don't know. I would be scared too. Yeah, I mean, true, vehicles are replaceable, but what you don't want to do is get caught in a big pile of vehicles because you didn't have gas, you didn't have a plan. And again, I talked about it earlier, having a threshold. Just because the government says, okay, now it's time to evacuate, you need to decide, should I wait that long? Right? Should I say, you know what? That fire is moving fast. Just for my own peace of mind, I'm going to stage all my stuff in the foyer. I'm going to get my books. I'm going to get my backup copies of my stuff, get my laptop, get my bags, important papers, valuables, cash, kind of stage it in the master bedroom, stage it in the garage, wherever it makes sense, and then watch and see. Because once you make that decision, I'm going to get out of here, and you already have everything laid out, it gives you a chance to think, what am I missing? Did I forget someone's paper? Did I get my meds? Did I get mom's meds? Do I have a kid who's diabetic? Do I have his insulin? Do I have a cooler for the insulin? It gives you a minute to think that through. And then you say, okay, when we're going to go, you start packing the car like a crazy person, and you're out. Your car's ready. It's packed, has fuel. You've already charted roads and said, okay, this is route A, this is route B, this is route C. Which one makes the most sense to me today? You know what? Has a fire on it and B has traffic. I'm going to C. And that way you're not, oh, hold on, I'm back from it, and there's a bunch of other fires popping up. That's interesting. So, John, when they were saying that when the Hollywood Hills fire broke out, it came out of nowhere with the initial reports. Like there was nothing there, and then all of a sudden, people driving from the main highway said, "We're seeing another fire form." And by the time the Cali fire guys started to respond, they realized they had a full blown fire. Hey, Donald, good to see you. Hey, Redleg, always good to see another grunt out here. HPVS is an awesome dude. Good kid Karma. But Larry David blocked all the cars and took all the keys. That's funny. But yeah, folks, so plan accordingly, get to know your area, get to know your routes. And now's a great time. If you're not in the middle of any of this, go find your home insurance papers, your personal medical, make copies of your driver's license, social security card, whatever, your passport. Have black and white hard copies and put them in a folder or binder. Have it in the gun safe, have it in the master closet. If you have to bail, and then I would make electronic backups in a 1 terabyte drive. If you have to leave, that's a really cheap way to have all your documents. And you can put them on the cloud too, right? Barring like an EMP or a cyber attack. have both hard copies and electronic copies, and keep them in a book or a binder so you can go to the safe, go to wherever you're going, grab everything, grab your jewelry, your pets, your kids, and you kind of have a plan in your head. Okay, these are the things I need to do before I walk out of my house, and have a destination. When the fire broke out again, I have a family member in California. I called her and I'm like, hey, the fire's nowhere near you at the moment. What's your plan? And they're like, well, we're outside of the city. We're in this area. So they were in a relatively safe area, and they just got a bunch of rain. So she's like, I got copies of X, Y, and Z, and I know we can get from here to here two routes to go to if I can't go down my main route. So they already plotted out 3 directions to go. They've got amenities for the pets. They've got amenities for a bunch of things. We have in-laws in-laws and friends and family in Flagstaff. We have friends in Vegas. We have friends in New Mexico. I have company buddies all over the country. So if I need them to evacuate and they're near one of my company compounds, I'll call the manager there and say, hey, can you guys let them park back here and maybe, refill water at the shop while I try to figure out how to get to them. So use those resources and plan it out. This is not a time to freak out. This is a great time to look and say, what do I have in place and what am I missing if this happened to me? And then ask yourself, well, what would happen to me? If you don't get those forest fires, do I get hurricanes? Do I get blizzards? Understand all that. Nice and warm 20. Nice. Well, it depends. Is it 20 Fahrenheit or 20 Celsius? Because 20 Celsius is kind of nice. Fahrenheit, yeah, no, that's a bit. Yes, and that's the other thing. The Santa Ana winds, partly because of the way that winter storm came down with the jet stream, the back end of it is actually creating a pressure differential and throwing wind in the other direction. Actually, I think I have a video for that. Hang on. Just because I thought it was interesting, so I figured I'd share it with you guys. Oh, share screen. Okay, this is weather.com. Come on now. All right. Well, apparently I'm going to have an ad. All right. Well, apparently it just wants to be difficult. So, um, hey, Amanda Evanson, happy homestead. -5 here in upstate New York, Catskill Mountains. Oh, you are in Hudson Valley's neck of the woods. Hey, Devil Dog, what's going on? 113 in chat, only 60. Thank you, sir. You are most kind. And so again, folks, understand your area or understand your geography and sit down. Even you could, this is something you could do with a couple of beers, a pizza, and a notepad. Hey, what disasters would we get in this area? Fire, industrial accident, derailment, I don't know, flood. Okay, if we have a flood, what do we do? I don't know. So start making the list. Do you have a bag? If you don't have a bag, do you at least have your stuff set up in such a way that you can go to it quickly and be able to access what you need to get on the road as fast as you can? And understanding how your area works, what your problems could or couldn't be, is going to really focus you on the things that will most likely be a problem for you in your area. Okay, here we go. It finally stopped its nonsense. Let me play this one for you guys before I Let me wrap this up here. There we go. All right.
When a ridge of high pressure sets up across the Great Basin, while an upper low spins across the desert southwest. The difference in pressure between the two allows strong easterly or northeasterly winds to rush down the mountainside. As the air descends, it's compressed, meaning it warms up and dries out. Wind speeds increase even more as the air squeezes through canyons and passes. The Santa Ana winds often lead to a high fire danger, especially if Southern California is in a drought.
So I thought that was a really easy and straightforward description of, hey, NYC, what's going on? Yeah. And Yeah. And you have more of a risk of an earthquake or a fire in California than a hurricane. They do get hurricanes or typhoons, depending on how you want to phrase it, in the Pacific. But again, it's not something that is very common. This is way more. Whereas Houston gets hit with a hurricane like every year. This year they got what, 2 hurricanes, 3 tornadoes, like they just got beat up. Hey, welcome, Amanda. Thanks for joining us today. Hey, Gerald, good to see you. So again, folks, if you take away anything from this, and this is why I phrased this video the way I did, of review and assessment, look at what happened. Roads were cut off. A lot of people got caught on the road either because they ran out of gas or they didn't have a plan of which way to go. And a lot of them waited too long. They waited until everyone was trying to go, and then they jumped on the bandwagon. You can't really hunker down for a fire unless you have some bizarre house that's fireproof. You're going to have to bail. It's not like a hurricane. So if they knew that and they knew the fire was coming, because it's been about 48 hours they've been fighting the fires. The minute you hear there's a fire within X area and it's moving and you know there's Santa Ana winds are possible in that area, then you start asking, okay, which direction do I want to go? A, B, and C routes. Okay, if I go A, who am I going to stay with? If I go to B, where am I going to stay? Where am I going to C, where am I going to stay? Fill up the cars right there. When we had hurricanes hit us in Houston, we filled up all the tanks for 4 days before. And then as we just topped off real quick, middle of the night, kind of, oh, I'm down a quarter tank because I had to go to work. So I've top off. I tried to keep it as full as possible. I do my shopping really early or really late. And while everyone else was kind of, we were just picking up any little gaps. Oh, we need more D batteries. Okay, I'll pick up a pack of D batteries. We need another case of water. Don't charge all your powered tools. Back up your documents, have hard copies of the important papers, all of these little things. And then if you think the threat is imminent, you can start staging stuff in your garage, in your foyer, and you wait and see which way it's going. And those folks who got caught on that road, who were all, and then they bulldozed the cars out of the way so the fire trucks could go through, those vehicles should not have been there, because those folks, if they were going to leave, should have left yesterday or day before. They should have been gone already. They waited until they had to leave, as opposed to dictating the time when they were going to leave, right? They let the fire dictate the time. And once that happens, the fire is going to kick everyone out and everyone's going to hit the same road. So folks, yeah, and the insurance companies are having a hard time. Hey, Rage, of y'all do a polar plunge. Does being, well, I may have done one in college. If you're drinking 151 rum and you set your buddy on fire by accident and in pushing him into the pool, I do, does that count as a polar plunge since it was an outdoor pool in the middle of winter? Or is that fire rescue? Because yes, I did do that. And fire 151 rum will catch fire. It doesn't burn hot, but it burns and freaks people out. And there was a pool there, so pushed my buddy, but he freaked out and he grabbed me, and then I went with him. So that counts. Yeah, and Texas Redleg, that's exactly what I'm trying to do here. I just want people to think this is happening in California. We got blizzards on the East Coast. Houston got hit with multiple hurricanes. Watch these disasters, and if you're not right in the middle of it, ask yourself, how can I prepare? Remember, there are three energies, right? Your time, your personal energy, and your budget, your money, right? Those are three resources that are very valuable and you can't replace them easily. So ask yourself, okay, I'm going to take an hour this week. What am I going to do? I'm going to make my property less risky, at less risk for fire. Okay, that's great. I'm going to can meat in case, power goes out and the store's closed and I have food at the house. I'm going to, I don't know, store food in a Mylar bag. Great. I'm going to go get my oil change done, get my tune up, make sure my vehicle's in good shape in case I have to leave my location. That's good. All of these little things, a lot of which we do anyway, you can do a piece at a time, stay on budget, don't freak out, learn from what you're seeing, and then ask yourself, okay, what do I have in place that'll help me here, and what don't I have? What are these people doing right, and what are the folks doing wrong? And then take those lessons to yourself. Um, I can't speak to every person there making different decisions, but no, yeah, and it's been spoken about. Sounds like a Fortino movie. That's funny. Um, Not a Tarantino movie. I got demoted. Um, but but in any case, understand your area, and it'll dictate what your risks are, and then prep accordingly for that. And remember, stay on budget. This is a marathon, not a race. You don't have to make yourself insane. You don't have to get in debt. You don't have to run up cards or anything like that. You can space it out. And if you need to make a big purchase, get a generator, get a jackery, whatever, then you have to put it on a card, that's fine. Budget to pay it off quickly, right? You could have a 20% interest rate on your credit card, but if you pay it off in 5 months, well, you're really not developing a lot of interest in the 5 months. You just took a short term loan. So, folks, think that way, learn and evaluate from what you're seeing. Don't panic, don't freak out. In any case, folks, I'm going to leave you with that one. I probably need to start shutting it down for tonight. You guys be good, be safe out there. Hey, Sister Marie, it's good to see you. Y'all take care. Yes, journey, not a destination. Y'all be safe out there, be careful. And again, plan, take your time, don't freak out, doesn't help. And other than that, I will see you all later. God bless, be safe, and be careful on the roads out there. We'll see you all.